He was good. Good afternoon, Santa Clarita. This is Jesus Henao of Leola Commercial, and welcome to the Commercial Hour. Be in the know your city. If you're thinking about owning or selling an apartment, an industrial building, or a shopping center, you're in the right place. We talk commercial real estate. Put on your jersey, sweatband, and get in the game. We are here Monday from 12 to 1 on KHTS AM 1220 and FM 98.1. We have a good show. It seems like it's been a long time since I've been back in studio. That long weekend really, takes you out of the game. But we're back. In the second half of the show today, we have Holy Schroeder, President and CEO of Santa Clarita Economic Development Corporation. You don't want to miss that, so make sure you stay tuned in to her. And I got a big shout out to a friend of mine that opened up his new gym, Warriors Fitness and Wellness Camp, over there on Center Point, Takayamisimo. He's living the American dream by opening that up, so I'm happy for him that that's up and running. And today we want to talk a little bit about I call this a little education bit on commercial real estate. And I know we've talked in the past about cap rates and price per square foot. And today, in the first half of the show, I want to talk a little bit about triple net properties. If you're ever looking for commercial real estate and you see 3 N's, you're like, what the heck does that mean? Well, what it means is a triple net property. And have Cody, and I'll put you on the spot and ask you some questions. Hopefully you're listening the last couple of weeks. But so a triple net, what is that? What that means, it's like the best way I can explain it is if you own a house and I rent to somebody, that tenant's going to pay for the water. He's going to pay for everything at the property. I, as the owner, might pay for the gardening, or I might pay for, absolutely, I'll be paying for the property taxes because I own the property, right? And I'll pay for the insurance, but I'll make the tenant have renter's insurance. So what is a triple net, and why do people buy them? This is another different type of investment. And what it is if you guys, I'm sure everybody out there has seen, they've driven by, they've seen an El Pollo Loco, they've seen a McDonald's, they've seen a Wendy's, they've seen a Starbucks, and you wonder, who owns that? Who owns that business? And here's how it works. Starbucks, let's say, owns the business. They do the day-to-day management, they make the coffee, they pay the employees, they handle everything. Same thing like El Pollo Loco, which we need more in this city. We only have 2 El Pollo Locos, and I love that place. Okay, so you as the owner, so I'll come in and say, I want to own that Starbucks, but you don't want to run the business. So there's 2 aspects of that. There's running the business and owning the property. Where you want to be is you want to own the property. So I own the building, I own the land, and Starbucks just happens to be my tenant. So how does that go into a triple net lease is what we're talking about, or a triple net investment? Starbucks rents from you, but in a triple net scenario, Starbucks pays for the property taxes, they pay for the property insurance, and they pay for the common area maintenance. The common area meaning everything outside of the building, the parking lot, the restriping, the cleaning up of it. And you as the landlord own the building, and Starbucks every month sends me a check for rent. And I don't have to do anything to the property. I don't have to go out there and sweep it. I don't have to send anybody to sweep it. I don't have to worry about the roof. I don't want to have to worry about people using the restrooms or not using the restrooms, right? So, and that's the best type of investment. It's a sort of a passive investment. So we talked a couple of shows back on your return on investment, your cap rate. So let's say, and I have an example today of one that's on the market today. And if you're interested in owning that property or a property type like that, please call me and I'll show you the ins and outs of it. So here's what it is. Again, it goes back to the cap rate scenario. And Cody, do you remember what a cap rate is?
Roughly, yeah, roughly.
All right,
Might need a little bit of a refresher, but in the most part.
Give it to me. Give me what you got.
Oh, and the cap rate? I must admit, I'm a little rusty. If you could help me a little bit in that one.
Okay. You got to pay attention, buddy. This is important. This will help you in the future. A cap rate is your return on investment if you bought the property all cash. So if I put a Starbucks, say, costs $3 million, and I take that $3 million and I put it in the bank is only going to give me probably less than 0.25% return on my money. That does nothing for me, right? It's like, what I might as well keep it under the mattress. So if you buy the Starbucks, though, now we're looking at the cap rate. So let's say a Starbucks costs $3 million and the cap rate is a 5%. That means I'm going to make 5% on my money if I bought the building all cash. So there's my choices again. Do I put it in the bank for 0.25 point, or do I buy the Starbucks at a 5%? Obviously, 5% makes better. But the trick is, and we'll talk about in a couple examples I have today, is how do you buy a $4 million property? Do you have to come up with $4 million in cash to buy it, or do we put a loan on it? Well, typically in commercial properties, they'll give you a 30% down payment to buy the property. So the bank comes in, they pay 70% of the property. They put 70% of the money in. You put 30% of the money, and voila, you own a Starbucks. You have a 5% return or better, and you get to write off the mortgage payment. You have depreciation. We talked that stuff, and your money just keeps making money for you. So that's why people buy commercial real estate. So who buys triple net properties? In my 24 years in the business, here are the people that buy it. So I've worked with several clients that have owned multiple apartment buildings, and owning apartment buildings is good, and there's bad parts of it. Good is you enjoy the income. There's a lot of apartments. People need a place to live. There's a high demand, etc. Rent is going up, so it's a good investment. But who's taking the phone call at 11 o'clock at night when the shower doesn't work, or there's a leak in the roof, or the garage doesn't open, etc., etc.? Or there's roaches or rats, etc. How about raccoons? We have plenty of those out here. So who handles that? Well, the property owner is the one responsible. So that's what we call a management-intensive property. You have to be there. Every month you have to go collect the rent. You have to deal with tenants that don't pay the rent. I don't like the paint, the carpet is worn, the laundry is not working. So there's owners that have owned these product types for many years, and they want to retire, they want to rest. So, but they like investment property. So what do? They'll sell the apartment building. They'll give me a call and say, "Hey, Jesus, I want to sell this. I'm tired of management. I think it's a good time in the market." And by the way, people sell for many different reasons. It's not usually money, and that's a lesson I learned a long time ago. So the person sells the building. They come to me. I sell it for them. I get them the highest price, and they say, "Okay, I don't want to pay taxes on this. I want to buy something that's not management intensive." So where do we go? We look for that Starbucks. We look for the Wendy's. We look for the El Pollo Loco. And since the owner has pulled out a lot of cash from the sale, they could either buy it all cash or they get a loan on it. And the thing that hurt many investors back in 2006, 2007 is what happened to them was they over-leveraged. And what does that mean? Well, Jesus, you're throwing all these terms. What does it mean? I'm just trying to get involved in the business. Well, over-leverage just means this. You came in with a little percentage down and you took out a big loan. So when you do that, that means your mortgage payment is going to be high. And that hurt a lot of people because the interest rates fluctuated. There were variable rates. Interest rates went up, and they couldn't pay the mortgage. So what happened? They had to sell. The bank took back the properties. They got foreclosed, or the property went to auction, and that was an interesting time a couple of years back. So two things to do is don't over-leverage, meaning don't come in with 5% down on a $4 million property because the numbers won't work, and you're going to lose it. And the banks know that. Or you buy it all cash, like some people do. So my recommendation is don't over leverage. Go to 40% down, maybe 50% down if you want to be safer, because if there is a downturn in the economy, which, again, this is Jesus Henao from Leola Commercial in the Commercial Hour. We have somebody that's going to come in the second hour talk about this, the economy, which is Holy Schroeder. So she'll be in, and we just saw her walk in, and so we'll get some more insight on that. It's going to be great. So you don't want to over leverage. So now I own a Starbucks. I don't management. I drive by it and I say, wow, I own that building. And every month that direct deposit kicks into my account and I'm happy, and I go on a vacation and pay for the kids' tuition, help family members out, and do what you do. Get those USC tickets, those season tickets. Okay, so what's a good deal, and what's a good deal in a triple net? Well, the other aspect of it is you're looking at the lease. So if a triple net lease has 2 years left, so Starbucks is here and they have 2 more years on the lease, how do I know if they're going to stay? What if it's an underperforming property for them? What do I do? So number one, when buying a triple net, you have to look at the lease. The longer the lease, the better. Typically, you'll find 15 years, 20-year leases. Second, who's the tenant? Is it Starbucks? Is it, mom and dad auto parts business? Is it Riley's Auto Parts? Is it AutoZone? Who's the tenant? So you have to look at that. And then the next thing you want to know is it corporate backed, meaning Starbucks Corporation backs a lease, or is it a franchise? And we'll talk about that in another show. I mean, there's just so much in real estate that we can talk about, like what's a franchise. And if you guys saw the McDonald's movie, that was a great movie. It talks about franchise. If you want to learn how franchises work, that's great. So you want to look at that. All right. So let's talk about some deals that are going on right now in Santa Clarita. I pulled a couple of them. They are on the market for sale. If you want to know more, if you have some talent laying around, or you own some apartments, or you're looking to make that move, or you've inherited some good money, what do? We're going to talk about 4 deals, and the biggest one is a $41 million deal right here in Santa Clarita. The smallest one is a $2.5 million. So let's start with the big one first. What is it? Okay. It's a 74,415 square foot shopping center on Copper Hill and Tesoro Valle. And if I can put you into the location where it's at, it's by the Super Walmart in Valencia on Copper Hill. Okay? And the Home Depot over there. It's right up the street. And who's the tenant? You have Albertsons Save-Ons, Baby Tuna, which pretty good sushi there, Sports Clips, Faux Shore Vietnamese noodles. So I love, or it's pho sure. Pho's great. I love Vietnamese food.
My favorite place, probably.
Yeah.
Locally, it's the one, yeah.
Yeah, pho, that's great. I like it. So that place is for sale. And these have triple net leases there. And now I'm going to throw some numbers we talked about before. And Cody, you tell me if you think it's a good deal. This property, so let's look at first the tenant. Is Albertsons a good tenant? Yeah, it's a pretty good tenant, right? We know Pho is a great noodles place.
Going there for years,
yeah.
So it's still open.
And Baby Tuna is good. And, okay, so we know we have good tenants there. So next thing, what is the cap rate? So I'm going to throw you the cap rate, and you tell me if you think it's a good deal. It's a 4.6 cap.
So 4.6% of $40 million, correct?
Yeah, $41 million.
$41 million. Well, I mean, my math skills aren't that great. From where I'm sitting, though, 4% of $41 million is a number I would take any day. So sounds pretty good to me.
Good. So it's not a bad deal. And what you'll see in cap rates, if the tenant is strong and the location is strong, the cap rate's going to come down. They're going to want more money for that property, so your return is going to be a little bit less. But one thing about commercial real estate that you should always know is everything is negotiable. So not necessarily at the end of the day will it sell for 4.6. It might sell for more if it's a hot property, or it might sell for better. Now, this property's been on the market probably, I would say, 2 months. So moving a little slow, maybe a better cap rate, somebody to buy it. So how does that look on a down payment wise? Well, you're not going to come in with $41 million. And I did some quick numbers on most of these at 30% down. So a $12.5 million gets you into this property, and you'll get a 4.6 return on your investment. And you shelter the cash, you have tax shelter, you have depreciation, and you have cash flow. So that's the big one. So if anybody is looking to buy that property, please give me a call. Once again, this is Jesus Henao of the Commercial Real Estate Hour, Leola Commercial. And here are just my numbers if you want to give me a call, 661-877-1433. Or 818-570-3301, or you can find me on the web at leolacommercial.com. Next deal that's out there. This is a building on Center Point. Now, let me see here. Yeah, Center Point. Now this building, it's right next to the Super Walmart on Golden Valley, right down the street from my office. And there's one of my favorite places that's there, Rattlers. Oh, the salmon is fantastic there. And there's a backyard barbecue, Panda Express, Subway, and a couple others. Now, this property is all triple net leases. So you own the property, you enjoy the cash flow. It's a great location. Now the cap on this one is 5.3%. Better than the 41 million, right?
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And what gets you into this deal? 4 million, like say 4.5 million gets you into that property. It's listed at 4.8 million.
What? And because that's a triple net lease, if I understand correctly, so despite having a higher cap rate, you would also be taking home more money because you're not paying property tax as compared to the other property, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Triple net means they pay property tax, property insurance, and common area maintenance, the cleanup and maintenance of the property.
Do they get anything for what they're paying and more? Any other further leeway with the property, stuff they can do that they couldn't do without a that kind of lease? Or is it just the same thing, they just pay more?
No, they're just responsible for everything. So if the roof goes bad, they got to pay for it. Graffiti on the wall, they pay for it. You know, as an owner, obviously you want to go and make sure that, hey, there's no graffiti on the wall, and make sure it's cleaned up and they're maintaining it. And then you make the call, hey, you're not keeping your end of the bargain. Make sure to keep the property clean. So that one is a $14 million deal. It's on the market right now. Great location. And at 14.8 million and about 4.5 gets you into the deal. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to talk about one more and then an apartment building. The next one is, it's right next to Costco. And what's there is the Stater Brothers, McDonald's, El Pollo Loco, and another favorite sushi place of mine. I have like 3 or 4 good sushi places that I love out here. This is a 661 Sushi, and that place is awesome.
My favorite as well, as far as sushi goes. I forgot where the guy used to work, but they moved to
Mr. Sushi.
There was the one, yeah, right there by the mall. And yeah, that's my favorite place now. So
across the street from the BMW dealer.
Yeah, very good. So we got a couple of good seafood places. It looks like someone's going to be owning pretty soon, or the property at least.
That's right. Well, no, they don't own this property. What they own is it's the Midas Auto Service Center. So it's right next to Stater Brothers and right next to the El Pollo Loco. It's tucked away in the back on the side there, but you can see it from, Sierra Highway. So that property is for sale. Now let's look at this. This guy, there's a 15-year lease in place. So, for 15 years, you're good. 2, the area is great. I mean, you're right next to Costco. Who doesn't go to Costco? I mean, I go. That's the only Costco in Santa Clarita, I think.
I believe so, yeah. Well, I know of.
Yeah, they take about $300 from me every time I walk in there every other week. It sucks. But yeah, so it's there. And this one is selling at a 5 cap. Okay. Now this is a smaller size deal. $2.5 million gets you into the property. And the down payment is $700,000. Manageable. You pull a couple of guys together, a couple of friends together, have some money, and you can buy this and you're going to enjoy a 5% return. Okay. The last property we're going to talk about today. You'll hear properties that are listed. The ones that I just spoke about are listed in Santa Clarita. I do a lot of business here in Santa Clarita, the Antelope Valley, and San Fernando Valley. And the next property, this is what we call an off-market deal, meaning they haven't specifically listed the property for sale, but they're willing to entertain offers. And this is a special deal because it's an affordable housing project. It's 272 units. Now, this property will get you, you can buy it for about $23 million. Again, what does it cost to get in? 6.9. But when it's affordable, why would anybody want to buy an affordable property versus somebody that's paying market rent? What do you think, Cody? Why would I buy an affordable property?
The only thing I could see is maybe the government helps make up the difference that you're taking on the rent. I mean, you might have to deal with them more, and I don't know if the headache, but it's one thing I can see is that they kind of cover that what you're losing.
Well, who's the government?
I guess us, right?
You got it. Cody, you're making up the rent there. I'm making up the rent. Kyle at home, wherever you're at, he's making up the rent. So that's what happens. But you know that the payment is going to be made. It's a little more challenging because there's paperwork involved. You have to screen tenants. You have to make sure they qualify, they're affordable, but there's still a return on your money. This one is going to be probably a 6 cap rate, so it's better. The price per unit will be lower, but you have a strong asset here. Again, you have depreciation, you have cash flow, and these buildings were built, I think, in the 90s, so pretty good construction, still new, not too much deferred maintenance, meaning the roof should be still pretty good. It's not beat up too much, even though it is affordable housing. And so that's a great asset. And if you want to know more about it, please call me once again at 661-877-1433 or 818-570-3301. I answer to both. Again, this is Jesus Henao, the Commercial Hour. And coming up next in our next segment, we have Holy Schroeder, President and CEO of the Santa Clarita Economic Development Corporation. We're excited to talk to her about what's happening in our economy. Is this going to stay strong? Are the lowering of the taxes better for us? Are we benefiting? What's going on in Santa Clarita? Are more business coming? What's happening with wages? Are they going up? Are they going down? How is she helping attract all this business and doing a good job out here? We want to know those questions. So stay tuned after this commercial break. Once again, this is Jesus Henao, the Commercial Hour of Leola Commercial, and we talk real estate here.
I just want to send a shout out to all my customers. It's Dave Reeves from Reeves Complete Auto Center in Canyon Country.
Reeves, Santa Clarita's choice for quality customer and automotive care.
I've been in automotive service my whole life. I learned customer service and honest communication make the difference.
Reeves, where customers matter.
I really appreciate your business and hope to serve you in the future. Thank you very much.
Reeves, on Ruther in Canyon Country.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
If you are at least 55 years of age and have a torn or irreparable rotator cuff, you may be eligible for a no-cost clinical trial at Southern California's Orthopedic Institute's Valencia Clinic. Call 818-901-6600 extension 1525 or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com to learn about a study of an investigational shoulder implant. Call 818-901-6600 extension 1525 or visit rotatorcuffstudy.com. Sponsored by Microair Surgical Instruments.
Santa Clarita's hometown station. Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Jesus Henao of the Commercial Hour and Leola Commercial. We have live in studio Holy Schroeder, President and CEO of the Santa Clarita Economic Development Corporation. And welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I know you have a busy schedule and sometimes it's tough to get in, but I truly appreciate it. So tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development and about yourself. I know you're an Oregon Duck, right?
I did get my master's from University of Oregon, yeah. So the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation is a nonprofit here in the Santa Clarita Valley focused on growing high-quality jobs. We recognize that if you want to grow high-quality jobs and diversify our economy, you have to have a plan and a deliberate plan. It's not going to happen by happenstance. So civic leaders about 9 years ago realized that that's what the case was, and they formed the Economic Development Corporation as a partnership between the city, the county, College of the Canyons, and the private sector. So everybody who is engaged in economic development is at the table, working on the same page, really trying to grow the job base and economic resiliency here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
So how long have they been, you've been open now?
So the organization's about 8.5 years old. I've been there almost 5 years.
Oh, okay, 8 years. And since it started, how do you see the work they've done here in Santa Clarita?
Well, our work has really grown since we started, and really now are a full-service economic development organization. When the primary thing we focus on is what we call business attraction. That is bringing businesses to the Santa Clarita Valley. We focus on a lot of our industrial and office-using tenants. So we're looking at aerospace companies, biotech companies, manufacturing companies, film, digital media, entertainment-related, and information technology companies, because those are the companies that are doing business not just in Santa Clarita Valley, but around the region, around the globe. They grow new opportunities, and they grow our economic pie, so to speak, so that gives opportunities for our residents to find employment, increases our tax base, and allows us to make the investments that protect the quality of life that we so treasure here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Good. I was about to thank you for the great sushi places, but it's not. You didn't mention that. So.
We do. We are a growing community, and the good thing about being growing is that it gives more opportunities for those great retailers and restaurants to come into town because they have more clients to serve.
Great. And how many industrial projects are coming online? I know I looked on your website. There's a couple. Can you talk about some of the sites coming in, and who are they looking at to tenant those buildings?
Yeah. So one of the things that's very exciting for us right now is that we do have new industrial real estate being developed, new industrial buildings that are being built right now. So there's really three active projects right now that we focus on in the industrial field. Two of which are in the unincorporated county over by the Valencia Commerce Center. So that's the area off of I-5 and the 126. So at the sort of northwest end of that is IAC Commerce Center, which ultimately will be 1.3 million square feet of new industrial space. Right at the intersection of Commerce Center Drive and the 126 is the fifth phase of the Commerce Center, Gateway 5. Those are buildings you can see now. They are partially occupied, and we are working on tenants in for the remaining space there. And then in sort of the grading phase is Needham Ranch, which is down closer to the 14 near Eternal Valley, and that will ultimately be 4.2 million square feet of industrial and office space. And this is, we were commenting before we came on the air that it's sort of the most activity we've seen in a while, and that's really true. These projects are some of the first new industrial projects anywhere in LA County in about a decade. I mean, since before the recession, during the Great Recession, industrial real estate development completely stopped. And so there really has been nothing anywhere in the North LA market, that includes San Fernando Valley and north of us, really coming online. And so we have had industrial occupancy rates that have been, really high. So our vacancy has been under 2% in a lot of across the area, and so we really have needed this new buildings in order to give our companies an opportunity to grow and expand.
So before that project got started, Trammell Crow contacts you and said, "Hey, we need help with this," because I did see you at the city. They were requesting to make the buildings a little bit higher, and I know you didn't see me, but I was hiding in the weeds using my stealth marine abilities.
So Trammell Crow is the developer of the Needham Ranch project, the first phase of the Needham Ranch project, and that project, first the Needham Ranch project itself, was entitled many years ago, and Trammell Crow came in to do the development for the first phase. And as they got going on that project and they started looking at the market and what was going on, what we're seeing in trends in industrial real estate is a desire for higher clear heights, right? We already have better clear heights, higher clear heights than many of the buildings in the San Fernando Valley, which makes them preferable because as companies want to get more efficient with their space utilization. They want to be able to go vertically, and with technology, they're able to pick and pack and understand exactly where all of their inventory and product is. So the clear height has been very important to a lot of the users, and so Trammell Crow was interested in getting an even higher clear height for two of the buildings and of their first three buildings in that phase. And since we saw that as a significant trend in industrial that would help us attract high quality companies, we wanted to support that request.
So we should see, you think we'll see an Amazon fulfillment center come in?
I think that is the type, certainly a type of client that we'll see. That project is certainly well positioned for e-commerce because of its proximity to LA, easy access to the freeway. There's a lot of advantages for that type of user to consider that site.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you think with all this industrial, I think there's like 8 million square feet coming in here.
In the long pipeline, yeah.
In the long pipeline. Do you think there's it might be oversaturated?
I don't think so at this point. Again, our vacancy rates have been really low, and we're bringing these state-of-the-art buildings, and there's been such pent-up demand because really between 2007 and 2017 there was like nothing that was built in that time period. So there really is a significant pent-up demand. We're seeing a lot of activity and interest from businesses both in the Santa Clarita Valley who are looking to expand, and in the San Fernando Valley who are considering relocating.
Do you think that's going to push rents for these lease spaces up or down? Because it's a lot of space.
It is a lot of space.
And for a second, I think trending, to give an idea, average price per the pricing for buildings are about $150 a square foot. But on the lease rate aspect of it, you think it's going to stay strong?
Right now, we're seeing all indications right now are that those prices are holding, that the lease rates are holding, and that this is not causing anybody to drop their rates. We're obviously watching and seeing what happens and talking with the developers, but right now everybody seems to be holding at the rates that they're marketing at.
Great. Now, what do you see outside of the industrial? I know office tends to have a little bit more vacancy. What other product types do you see coming in? Do you see any more apartments being built here? I know we have the Newhall Ranch project here, the Newhall Crossing coming in.
Yep.
But any other multifamily investors?
Yeah, so Vista Canyon, which is just north here off of the 14, is a new JSB development, and it's a multi-phase development, mixed-use development that is going to have housing as well as office space as well as retail amenities, almost like a town center drive type.
It's almost a little city there because I think they have residential also.
Right, residential, and so the first phases of the residential there are apartments, and so we'll start seeing those go under construction later this year.
Who was I think JS. I can't remember the developer that's building it. They sold that piece, I think.
They sold that off, yeah. And I don't recall the name of it off the top of my head either, but they've sold those off.
JPI.
JPI. And so they will. So we'll start seeing those, and that's 300 plus units of apartments that will be built over the next.
Will those
couple
be
years
market rate or market rate or for?
Those are market rate apartments, is my understanding. Yeah.
Great. And we have a lot of homes coming in. We have that coming in. We have the 21,000, and the lot that I sold. That I'm not sure if you're aware of it. The 240 acres. Up on Pico Canyon, right next to the up the road there. I mean, 102 homes are being built by Lennar.
There's a lot of housing coming in. It has been also pent-up demand. I mean, we have not been building housing at a rate to keep up with the population, and that's a systemic problem across all of California, not just Southern California, and Santa Clarita Valley isn't immune from that. We are growing community, raise children, and then the kids grow, and they're not housing for them to move into. So we absolutely need to be building additional housing, and we're seeing housing. We're seeing those apartments coming online. We're seeing smaller homes. We're seeing duplexes and quadplexes and those types of residential products coming online that give people a variety of housing options. And we have a certain pipeline, which I think is good. With the projects like Newhall Ranch, with projects like Skyline Ranch, we see that there's going to be there should be a steady supply of housing for years to come. These projects don't all get built in a day. It's not like they spring up like weeds in your front lawn. So it really provides us a steady supply, which we really need, and I think that's very good for the long-term outlook of the valley.
Do you think that's going to keep pushing prices up or down?
I think my opinion on that is that it keeps prices from being totally crazy fluctuations, right? So right now, if you talk, I'm sure you've had people talk to them in the residential real estate market, and they talk about how limited the inventory is of homes that are for sale, and that causes bidding wars and run-ups of prices, and so you get this very frenetic type of pricing that goes up and down and up and down. It can be not very predictable. I think that having a steady supply of housing isn't going to depress prices, but it's going to sort of stabilize and moderate the price increases from jacking up in crazy rates that actually ends up working against us in the long run because it prices people out of the market.
Absolutely. Now we've talked about some big players here. What about the mom and pop guy that wants to open the barbershop, the guy that wants to open the family restaurant? How can you help them? Because most of the time they have no idea where to go. They're like, okay, I want to open up. What do I do? And I get the call, and I guide her. My wife's an architect, and she does a lot of TI work for a lot of mom and pops. And for the last 10 years, she did Whole Foods. So she has a very good idea, how all that stuff works. But how can you help them?
So a couple of things. First off, the retail is not necessarily our total focus. Our focus is on those major users that are growing our economic opportunities here. But what I would say to all of them, and this is true whether this is a manufacturer coming in or a barbershop or whatever, is build your team of who's going to do this, who's going to help you work through that permitting and tenant improvement process. Hire somebody qualified like your wife. Hire somebody who knows the process. For businesses that are opening up or expanding, this might be the only time they engage in this activity in their life cycle, right? Yeah. For that CEO, this is the only time they're going to do this. Sure. They are not the expert. Don't pretend to be. Hire the right people to do it. We find when we're working with clients that when they hire a good team, it just makes it go so much more smoothly because you learn the little ins and outs and tricks. And we would love it if our bureaucracy didn't have ins and outs and tricks, but the reality is that those things happen in any business and in any system. And so when you hire someone who's worked in the city before, worked in the county before, you're going to probably have some better success. So building an expert team is really important.
Yeah. Once again, we have Holy Schroeder of the Santa Clarita Economic Development in studio talking the economy. Thank you for coming in again. And let's talk a little bit about what you said about having a good team. That's so important because there's a lot of people trying to cut corners. Sure. I want to save the bucks, but eventually it'll cost you because you can get delayed at the city with permitting. If you're not ADA compliant, you're going to be tied up for many years. And when you're tied up, you're spending money that you don't need to spend. So
that's right.
Great advice on hiring a great team. And I'm sure you can make recommendations. Do you make recommendations?
Absolutely, we can.
Fantastic. Good. Now, according to the labor statistics, unemployment is down at 3.8. Both labor participation is at 62.7. How does that compare? That's, I guess, U.S.-wide. How does that compare to Santa Clarita?
Well, we're actually about the same. We generally have a slightly lower unemployment rate than the county and the state at large. So we're in a very, very strong labor market right now. One of the number one thing we hear when we talk to companies, and we're talking to manufacturers and tech companies, is their challenge in finding good skilled workers, finding the talent that they're looking for. One of the things that we do is we partner with College of the Canyons because the College of the Canyons has a tremendous workforce development program where there is lots of training programs, and these can be training programs that are for a company to take a whole cohort. They can take 20 people through and I'll teach them on, let's say, a new system that they might be implementing, or it could be that one employee is like, I really need to improve my skills in AutoCAD and I need to develop Excel skills, and they can go take those classes. So there's a lot of opportunities to help those companies and those individuals develop their skills in order to help them help their workforce grow. And that's really what we need to do, is help people get the training, help people who've been out of the workforce get back into the workforce, see the opportunity that is available for them.
And you hit something right on the nose, and I stress this a lot too. I work with a lot of young kids finishing high school, and I always tell them the same thing. Get your education. It's so important, whether it's College of the Canyons or you want to go to Oregon or you want to go to USC. Don't go to UCLA. But wherever you want to go, get the education because it's important, because you hit it on the nose. You need good skilled workers.
It's absolutely true. And build an attitude of liking to learn, because the skills that people are going to need are going to continue to evolve and change. And, there's going to be technologies that we're working with 20 years from now that haven't been invented yet. And so we have to embrace a culture of continued learning. It's not like you go to school and you're done. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. So learn to love, get curious about what's happening. And I think that's a key to success to a great career.
Fantastic. And I'm going to ask you just the last question I have is, if you had a crystal ball, do you see this economy staying this strong in the next 5 years?
5 years. I do think we're very well positioned as the Santa Clarita Valley. We do an economic outlook event every spring in March, and we just did that a couple months ago, and it was a very strong forecast saying really no recession in sight. Because we have major growth projects like Newhall Ranch, like Vista Canyon, like Needham Ranch, those projects that will provide opportunity. Those provide construction jobs as well as new job opportunities. I think our outlook, we really have an embarrassment of riches. We're really well positioned for the future.
Fantastic. Once again, everybody, thank you, Holly, for coming in from the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development. I could talk to you for hours. I love this subject.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
And thank you for coming in. Once again, thank everybody for tuning in. This is Jesus Henao of Leola Commercial and the Commercial Real Estate Hour here at your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll see you or hear me next week.
Did you know that SCVI has the only international baccalaureate program in our community? That means that students at Santa Clarita Valley International Public Charter School can participate in very rigorous classes run by highly trained and skilled international teachers. They work with kids to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners. Students with IB diplomas at select colleges can graduate with a full year credit at their university. Schedule a tour today online at scvi-k12.org or by calling 705-4820.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Time in Rio brings their musical magic to the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center on Saturday, June 30th. KHTS is proud to present Diamond Rio, 6-time Country Vocal Group of the Year, 23 top 10 hits. Experience Grammy Award winners Diamond Rio like you've never seen them before, right here in our hometown at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center. Country legends Diamond Rio, and featuring our one and only local singing sensation, Savannah Burrows. Savannah Burrows and Diamond Rio, together at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center, Saturday, June 30th. One more day. Tickets are going fast. Visit canyonspac.com to purchase yours. canyonspac.com for Diamond Rio.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo. And who could forget 99 red baboons?
Or the African-crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills. Hey, don't get too close.
And the hits keep on coming.
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard.
Ibex is back.
Harder, better, Fossa stronger.
And a new track from Kendrick Lamar.
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa.
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins, only at the San Diego Zoo.
Your hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
Everyone, this is the Commercial Real Estate Hour in your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is your host, Jesus Henao of Leola Commercial. And we're going to wrap up here. Great interview with Holly. Let me tell you, great information. People are excited. The economy is doing good. I think it's the tax cuts. I think people in the U.S. have a vigor about the economy. They're seeing more money in their pockets, and I think it's, the economy is going to stay strong for a couple of years. I think 5 years is a good outlook. I don't see a recession coming. I think it's going to keep going strong. There's plenty of buildings being built. There's properties for sale. Again, to recap some of the buildings that were out there on the market, if you're looking to buy apartments, industrial, or a shopping center, or a triple net deal like we talked about earlier today, please feel free to give me a call. I think the head and gem here is at Midas Auto Service Center over there by the Stater Brothers. I think it's a good deal. Give me a call. We'll get you into that place. And also, if you're looking to just open up a business and you need some advice, you need a team of architects, you need a team of construction people, please give me a call. I can get you in the right direction, put you in the right hands so you can get your business up and running, stay on budget, and get the deal done. So coming up probably next week, we're looking to maybe have somebody and these developers that are developing these industrial projects in. So I'm looking forward to speaking to them and getting them in studio and let us know how the development process goes. I know there's a lot of college kids out there, people looking into real estate. How can I make money there? How can I make an impact in the city? And Cody, you said something great. And if the city is listening, how are we going to handle these roads with all these new homes, all this industrial, all this retail? We need to maybe expand them, because I'll tell you that 5 is a dog to
and it's
drive.
not getting any better. That's the one area of development that seems to be neglected is the building more roads, but you'll get there.
Yeah, so somehow that's got to be fixed. I don't think, well, the good news is with all the homes, you can work and live here in Santa Clarita, and you can go to your job. There's not a long commute, 10, 15 minutes, and you're good.
I never thought of that. I wonder how much that actually does reduce traffic, just having people not commute out of the valley and work in the valley. I wonder what the actual impact of that is.
Well, think about it. I know a lot of people commute to downtown LA or the west side. That's a drag. I did that the other day. I took my wife to the airport. She missed the flight. I left at 6, and I left at 5, and the flight was at 7. Didn't make it. An hour and a half on the 405. Just
well, maybe
brutal.
we get that Antelope Valley Airport up, and we'll have another way to relieve traffic.
That story's been going around for many years, and I still haven't seen it. Or the train, the bullet train.
The bullet train, one of those, right? We'll get one of them up and running, and that should help.
I don't think any of those are going to happen anytime soon. I think we'll see the Hyperloop, Elon Musk's Hyperloop before you see anything else. But yeah, to finish up here, if you live here, because I used to work in Encino, and I'd have to be on that road by 5 in the morning. If I didn't do it, forget it. I'd never get there. And then I moved my offices up here, and my commute is 5-10 minutes, no traffic, very little traffic, and so much easier. Reduces stress, reduces brain damage, makes the family life a little bit easier because you're there. And if my daughter needs something from me at school, I can just get on the road and be there very quickly. So this is a great place to live. Good schools, a lot of business, the education. You know what I liked about what Holly had to say is all the infrastructure's here. If you want to work for these companies with all this industrial coming in, College of the Canyons can prep you there. And I know there's courses that you can go there and take, and you're going to start off making probably $20 an hour because you're trained, you're skilled, and you're going to work here in Santa Clarita, and you're good to go. So, you got to take advantage of those things. Know what's going on in the community. If you don't know what's going on in the community, you're going to be stuck working those low-wage jobs, and you're not going to be able to get ahead. You're not going to be in a position to buy that Midas or the Tesoro Village Shopping Center. Man, I wish I could buy that center. That'd be great because they take my money every week also there. And the sushi place is great and all that. So, just to wrap up again, The economy is doing great. There's a lot of businesses coming in, a lot of jobs, makes us very attractive. And if you go down to the valley, it's easy to compare and contrast. I mean, that's just an old city. It looks tired to me. I do a lot of business there, but it's tired to me. Santa Clarita is new, it's fresh, it's clean. The city knows how to handle their business. One thing she didn't discuss, by the way, is here's a little something before we wrap up. There's a tax called the gross receipts tax. And I'll leave you. I hate to end on a downer. It's on a downer and a high, I guess, but
doesn't sound very good. I don't like those words together.
So if you have a business open in LA County or in LA, to say San Fernando Valley, every dollar you make, you're subject to a gross receipts tax. The city comes in and says, "Hey, you're not paying enough taxes. So whatever dollar amount of money you're making, you're going to owe us a tax on that." On top of all the other taxes you're paying, property tax, personal tax, you name it. In Santa Clarita, there is no gross receipts tax. So that's why you want to open up your business here. That's why you want to be in this great city. And that's why you want to do business here. Once again, if you want to know what's happening, you want to buy, give me a call. This is Jesus Henao of Leola Commercial. This is the Commercial Real Estate Hour here on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll see you or hear you next week. Have a great week.
Now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry of Bob's Country Meats. Cooking brisket is simple, whether you do it in the oven or on the grill.